Lisa Broyles here with Way to Health MD, and I want to introduce to you a new series that's dear to my heart, which is about perimenopause. Okay, I am 47 years old. I'm choosing to do this video with no makeup of any kind. I want to be as transparent as possible and say I am a woman at 47 that is going through perimenopause, so I understand what you may be going through or what your life partner might be going through. So listen up. Basically, perimenopause can last anywhere from 5 to 15 years, and it's the years on either side of menopause. Menopause is technically when a woman has not had her menstrual cycle for 12 months. Okay, that's officially menopause. Anything after that we call postmenopausal. But women in their late 30s can even start like a premature perimenopause, premature ovarian failure. Typically, most women begin to experience symptoms in their 40s and may have them into their early 50s before they actually finally stop having those periods. So symptoms of perimenopause are increased headaches or migraines, some brain fog, feeling like you're just not as sharp as you used to be cognitively. You might notice some thickening around the waist. This is very common and I see it pretty much across the board. You may notice that your hair is falling out more, you're losing the edges of your eyebrows, which has happened to me as well. Definitely noticed some hair thinning over the past few years. You may notice that your joints are a little more stiff and achy, body feels a little bit more heavy. And then we get to some of the more embarrassing topics that a lot of people don't like to talk about, and that's some urinary incontinence. When you cough, sneeze, bend down, laugh really hard, a little bit of urine might squeeze out. And then you might be experiencing some vaginal dryness. Maybe you're not as interested in sex as you used to be. It's harder to achieve orgasm. You just don't really enjoy it or want it anymore. You may be starting to experience hot flashes or irregular periods. They're all very common symptoms. So in the past, your doctor would have just patted you on the shoulder and said, "Oh honey, you're in perimenopause. It'll get better after when you're postmenopausal." But there's so much new information coming out about how hormone therapy is so beneficial for women. So why should we have to wait until we've been suffering and gone a year without periods and suffered through all of these symptoms and hot flashes before we do something about it? I say that's not okay. I say that perimenopausal symptoms can be changed. They can be optional. And I want to tell you how. So each of the videos in this series will kind of pick a specific symptom and talk to you about strategies to make it better. I wanted to briefly go into why this is happening. Your body makes estrogen and progesterone primarily in your ovaries, and when you go through puberty, you start a surge of estrogen and progesterone, and these levels kind of surge and balance throughout the months. Well, perimenopause is like a second puberty. So instead of your estrogen levels gradually declining, no, it's like a roller coaster, okay? Your estrogen levels are doing this. So the ovaries start spurting out estrogen in fits and stops. Sometimes there'll be too much, sometimes too little. This is what'll bring on a hot flash when your estrogen level dips suddenly. The first hormone you start to lose is your progesterone. And this is really important because progesterone is responsible for keeping our hair thick and healthy, for keeping our mood happier, a little more robust, for helping us sleep deeply, for joint pain. So you may notice the first sign before you ever hot flash is, hey, my joints are a little more achy, especially the shoulders. Frozen shoulder, stiff shoulders is the first thing that happens for the joints with progesterone loss. And if you're a woman that's really stressed out, stress increases progesterone loss first, because there's this thing called cortisol, which we've talked about before, made by the adrenal glands. Cortisol goes up when you're stressed, right? Well, in order to make enough cortisol, your body will actually steal it from production of progesterone. So you get this progesterone steal where with increased stress, your progesterone levels drop even more dramatically, which not only creates that progesterone deprivation that I just told you about, but it also makes your estrogen levels crazy high, which increases your migraines, increases your irritability, your emotional woes, and it may make your periods heavier too. So you get that progesterone loss, you get this estrogen that's bouncing up and down, and then your DHEA levels are also starting to fall, which is a pre-hormone to your estrogen and your progesterone and your testosterone. and your androgen levels may go up or down. Typically, especially if women are heavy, you'll see androgen levels, which is testosterone levels, rise more during the late 40s. So you also have something important. You may notice that you can't tolerate the same foods that you used to, or when you drink a glass of red wine, you get a headache or you just don't feel good. These are signs of histamine intolerance. So estrogen helps keep your histamine levels in check. There's an enzyme called DAO, or diamine oxidase, that helps to break down histamine in the gut. Well, the sad fact for us perimenopausal women is that we make less of this DAO enzyme as we approach menopause, and our histamine levels build up more in our gut. So we become more sensitive to our allergies. We may be more stuffy than we used to be. You may notice kind of a drippy nose, especially after you eat. These are all signs of increased histamine. All comes back to our hormonal changes. So stay tuned so we can deep dive into what you can do about perimenopause, where this is the time when the only thing that's normal in your life is that everything seems to be changing. Thank you.